Stay on target. Join Archie, Betty and Veronica, Jughead and Reggie as they team up to form the soon-to-be legendary rock group, the Archies, in the never-before-told origin story of the band from co-writers Alex Segura and Matthew Rosenberg and artist Joe Eisner. Get to know the town's biggest jock, Big Moose, and learn that there's more to the varsity star than you'd think, courtesy of writers Sean Ryan, Ryan Cady, and GORF, and artists Corey Smith, Thomas Pitterly and Ryan Jampel. Shudder at the sight of everyone's favorite burger chomping Smartalek as he undergoes a terrifying and bloodthirsty transformation in Jughead the Hunger when a murderous menace is on the prowl, taking the lives of some of the most well-known and esteemed inhabitants of Riverdale. Jughead and his dark legacy comes to light from the twisted, macabre mind of writer Frank Thierry and artist Michael Walsh. I'm a huge Archie comics nerd. I can't watch Riverdale, but I can and will read all of the Archie comics from past to present. Archie Comics Presents gives the readers stories that both fly and fall, but delightful and authentic to the beloved characters. Archie Comics Present The Archies and Other Stories. W. Alex Segura, Matthew Rosenberg, Sean Ryan, Ryan Cady, GORF, and Frank Thierry. Joe Eisner, Corey Smith, Thomas Pitterly, Ryan Jampel, and Michael Walsh. C. Matt Herms, Glenn Whitmore, Kelly Fitzpatrick, L. Jim Campbell, Jack Morelli. Archie Comics have taken a slight sharp left turn with their epic reboot of the classic series. For the new bold brand of comics to Riverdale, Archie Comics is making those classic known stories into something hip and fresh for new generations of comic readers to enjoy. Archie Comics Presents does just that. It takes a band, a character, and a new angle and launches it out for the world to see. However, some of those stories can fly or falter. In Archie Comics Presents, I found myself falling in love with some and leaving others in the dust, via Archie Comics The Archies, written by Alex Segura and Matthew Rosenberg with art by Joe Eisner, colors by Matt Herms and letters by Jack Morelli, go back to the band's humble beginnings. Archie dreams of being a musician. It's one of his purest of passions, and he wants to make something out of it. When he and Jughead secure a spot to perform at the Jackpot via Jughead's cousin Bingo, the dynamic duo must race against the clock to form a band so they can actually play the live performance. Betty and Veronica join soon after, but Archie's big head starts to show, leaving the group in question as the band figures out the next steps with or without him. Segura and Rosenberg make me care a lot more about the Archies than I originally did. Witnessing a little bit of the Archies' beginning was a new start for the character. We knew of his love for music, but we finally get to see them play out. The writing duo gives the Archies some much-needed heart, but while reading, I did wish there was more. It felt like a story that needed telling but didn't know which way it truly wanted to go. I wish there were more of seeing Archie's real passion for music. Where did it come from? Were usually plopped down in the middle of Archie's misadventures. It would nice to go back and see more of where that passion truly came from. Luckily, there will be an ongoing The Archies series is coming to Archie Comics October 4th. Hopefully, we learn more about the backstory of Archie's love of music, and the writing duo will be able to shoot this group into superstardom like Josie and the Pussycats. Via Archie Comics, Joe Eisner's art captures the spirit of the Archies. Eisner's art is playful and expressive, which shines so brightly on these characters. You'll find your wise moving from panel to panel just to engage with Eisner's art because of the lively feel he brings to the band's story. Matt Herms' colors are just as playful as Eisner's art. He brings these panels alive with a pleasant mixture of cool and warm tones that perk you up. Herms invites you into the world of the Archies and lets you feel like you're invited to stay blank. Next up, Big Moose. Moose is one of the most underrated characters in Archie Comics. Most would just dismiss the lovable football player as dumb, but there's so much more to Moose that we don't get to see. In this double-sized one-shot, we read three different sides to Marmaduke Mason, a Moose Mason. He becomes the personification of that wise old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Moose vs. The Vending Machine, written by Sean Ryan, art by Corey Smith and colors by Matt Herms, is the characterization of Moose that screams gentle giant. Have It All, written by Ryan Cady, art by Thomas Pitterly and colors by Glenn Whitmore, tells the story of Moose trying to please everyone but results in him being stressed and overwhelmed. The Big Difference, written by GORF, art by Ryan Jampol and colors by Kelly Fitzpatrick, focus on the relationship between Moose and freshman named Colin. He looks up to Moose in every way and wishes to be an athlete like him. Via Archie comics, all of the stories in Big Moose are very different sides to the big guy. GORF writes him as a guy who doesn't see the differences in people and doesn't understand why we see them. He treats everyone equally no matter what, but when Jughead calls him out, he very much sees it. It's the opposite of how Ryan Cady writes him in Have It All. We see Moose as a teen who is trying to please everyone else but puts himself on the back burner. Though these stories are diverse in the retelling of Moose, none of them accomplish the good old-fashioned nostalgia like Sean Ryan does in Moose vs. The Vending Machine. Sean Ryan tells the most classic Moose story for the new age. The other stories are great, and they show different sides of him, but Ryan's portrayal of the lovable giant hits home and align with the classic stories. It gives the dumb Moose, but it doesn't lean against it. Moose is naive, childish, but also funny and has a type of B-movie flair to it. Ryan also laces in his relationship with his best gal, Midge, and his friendship with trickster Jughead that brings you into the story without getting left behind. Via Archie comics, Corey Smith's art fits well with Moose. He takes the character design of him being a giant and gives the image over to Moose. A great thing with these own shots are the expressive faces that the artist nailed wonderfully. Smith's art makes you smile, worry and laugh along with Moose, because one thing about his character that never falters is how his face can express two hands full of emotions. Smith's art is accompanied by Matt Herms on colors that drive the B-movie vibe home. Herms' colors are vibrant and light-hearted, leaving us in a lively and humorous mood when reading. Herms' colors with Chuck Morello's latter go hand in hand, especially when it comes to the SPX Archie comics. Please give Sean Ryan, Corey Smith and Matt Herms more Moose power. I beg of you. Last but not least, Jughead the Hunger has got to be my favorite part of this small collection of one-shots since Jughead Volume 1. Written by Frank Thierry and art by Michael Walsh, focuses on a string of unsolved murders committed by the Riverdale Ripper. No one knows who's doing it, and every full moon, another person is found dead. One night, the gang starts their journey home when Jughead encounters Dilton, and he discovers HE's a little bit more than human. HE's a werewolf. The three of them must find a way to calm Jughead's savage beast before it spins out of control. Or Betty will have to put him down for good. Via Archie comics, Jughead the Hunger is such a simple concept. I mean, Jughead with his mega appetite actually turns into one of the hungriest creatures of the night. Spectacular. This comic is just what the Archie horror needs to push that imprint forward and expand the diverse storytelling. Frank Thierry tells an intense narrative revolved around friendship and supernatural history that feels so natural, but not at all predictable. You want to know what happens next within Jughead the Hunger. The tense atmosphere surrounding the characters and the history keep you holding your breath. Within the comics, Tira's writing of Betty and Jughead blew me away. As two sides of an opposite ongoing family war, the friendship of the pair is almost instantly shattered and comes straight for your heartstrings. Archie tries to put the pieces together, but it's up to Jughead and Betty to mend that family war. Tira's writing keeps you hanging on, and you kill to know what happens next. Via Archie comics, if Tira's writing wasn't enough to sell you on Jughead the Hunger, Walsh's art is the key to the entire tale. Michael Walsh's art is your best gothic nightmares come to life. He slays, all pun intended, these pages and matches flawlessly with Tira's narrative. The use of his shadowed inks is extraordinary, creating a mysterious, sullen, moody vibe that seizes your attention. Walsh works with D. Caniff to round up this work with their savage colors. Walsh and Caniff work in those rustic oranges, reds, and browns. They amp up Jughead's hunger, but then they make their panels bloody. It's a sight to behold. It's not all out gory, but it's just the right amount of blood to drive the story and tell you what Jughead has become. Like the Archies, Jughead the Hunger will soon make its debut as an ongoing series in fall 2017. Frank Thierry will be back as the writer with art by Pat and Ted Kennedy. I can't wait to see where this story ends up. It's going to be a wild ride. Archie Comics Presents carries some hits and misses but bring multiple visions and voices to helm these characters. It's an exciting time to be an Archie Comics fan. Our favorite characters are coming back in strong direction with different creators at the helm. Some for good, some for the bad, but all of them are giving something that you could never possibly imagine, and that's the best part. Archie Comics presents The Archies and Other Stories is now available on Comixology and your local comic shop. Let us know what you like about Geek by taking our survey.